What if millions of people suddenly gained access to free internet overnight? Imagine the possibilities: remote villages connecting with the world, children in underserved communities accessing education, families bridging distances without costly data plans. This is the vision Elon Musk has chased for years, a dream that now hangs in the balance on a chilly morning at Cape Canaveral. The launch pad buzzes with energy, but beneath the excitement lurks tension that could unravel everything. Elon stands near the command center, eyes fixed on the countdown timer as technicians scramble to resolve an unexpected glitch. The satellite poised to change global connectivity is moments away from its first test launch, but a critical sensor has just reported an anomaly. What will happen if this innovation fails to deliver? What if the dream of free internet for the world remains just that, a dream? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk has built a reputation as a relentless innovator, a man unafraid to gamble everything on ideas others dismiss as impossible. From co-founding PayPal in his early 20s to revolutionizing electric cars with Tesla, and then setting his sights on the stars with SpaceX, Elon's journey has been marked by bold risks and painful setbacks. His childhood in South Africa was far from easy. Years of bullying and isolation forged a quiet intensity inside him, fueling a drive to prove himself through invention and exploration. A voracious reader, Elon devoured books about rockets and space exploration, dreaming of reaching beyond Earth's atmosphere. The stakes now couldn't be higher. This new satellite, part of his Starlink project, promises to blanket the planet in high-speed, affordable internet, ending the digital divide that leaves billions offline. But the mission's success depends on overcoming extraordinary technical challenges, weathering political hurdles, and convincing a skeptical world that free internet can be a reality, not just a fantasy. Behind Elon stands Sarah Matthews, the project's lead engineer. Sarah's story is just as compelling. Growing up in a rural town in Arkansas, she watched her family struggle with slow, unreliable internet that made even simple tasks like homework frustrating. Sarah's passion for technology was born from necessity, driving her to excel in school and earn a spot at MIT. She shares Elon's unyielding determination, and her work on the satellite's communication systems is crucial. But Sarah also carries a personal weight. Her younger brother's health depends on remote medical monitoring that falters without stable internet. Together, Elon and Sarah represent two sides of the same coin: vision and execution, risk and precision. The countdown reaches T-5 minutes. The air crackles with a mix of anticipation and fear. Suddenly, a warning flashes on the screen: the sensor anomaly could delay or even cancel the launch. Elon's jaw tightens, but his voice remains calm as he orders a diagnostic check. The team moves quickly, their fingers flying over keyboards, sweat gleaming on brows. Every second counts. Meanwhile, in cities and towns across America and beyond, millions tune in to live coverage of the event, hoping for a breakthrough that could change lives. For many, this is more than technology, it's hope. Hope for connection, for opportunity, for a future where the internet isn't a luxury but a right. Elon glances at the faces around him: scientists, engineers, investors, all holding their breath. The clock ticks down. Sarah bites her lip, scanning data feeds, working alongside her team to isolate the issue. Then, in a flash of determination, she calls out a solution: reroute power to the sensor from a backup system, bypassing the faulty component. It's a risky move but the only option. Elon nods approvingly, giving the go-ahead. The tension eases slightly. Launch preparations resume. At T-30 seconds, the rocket engines roar to life, shaking the ground beneath them. The satellite lifts off, soaring into the sky, trailing fire and smoke. Cheers erupt in the control room, but the work is far from over. Elon's eyes never leave the monitors. The satellite must reach orbit and begin transmitting signals flawlessly, or the mission's promise will unravel. Minutes pass like hours. Then, a signal, a faint but clear connection. Sarah lets out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. The satellite is operational. Across the globe, the first signals begin to reach remote areas, villages in Africa, mountain towns in Nepal, isolated islands in the Pacific. For the first time, people who have never known reliable internet feel the buzz of connectivity. Yet, Elon knows this is just the beginning. The real challenge lies ahead: scaling up, improving technology, overcoming opposition from powerful interests wary of losing control. The media frenzy intensifies, some heralding Elon as a hero, others questioning the feasibility and motives behind free internet. The story of this launch is more than a technical feat, it's a battle for the future of digital equity. Elon's mind flashes back to nights spent in garages and dorm rooms, dreaming of this moment. Now, that dream is taking flight, touching lives in ways he never imagined. As the sun sets over Cape Canaveral, the world watches and waits, hopeful that a new era is dawning. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Remember, every great change starts with a single spark, and sometimes, with a man who dared to reach for the stars. Elon Musk's story did not begin on a launch pad surrounded by high-tech engineers and flashing monitors. It began in the quiet suburbs of Pretoria, South Africa, where a young boy with a voracious appetite for knowledge grew up feeling like an outsider. From an early age, Elon was fascinated by technology and space, often retreating into books and computer code when the world around him felt too chaotic. His childhood was marked by struggles: bullied at school, misunderstood by peers, and isolated by his intense curiosity. These early experiences forged a deep resilience inside him, a hunger to prove that he could change the world. Elon's parents recognized his brilliance and encouraged his passions, but family life was complicated. His father was a stern man with strict expectations, and Elon often felt the need to escape the pressures at home. Books and dreams of distant galaxies became his refuge. In high school, Elon built and sold simple video games, using the money to fuel his growing interest in computer programming and entrepreneurship. Despite the challenges of his youth, Elon's mind never stopped racing with ideas that would one day disrupt industries and rewrite what was possible. When he moved to Canada as a teenager and later to the United States, Elon's vision sharpened. At the University of Pennsylvania, he studied physics and economics, blending his fascination with how the world worked with a pragmatic understanding of business. He was not just a dreamer but a doer, willing to take risks others would avoid. His early ventures, including Zip2 and PayPal, laid the foundation for a career defined by disruption and reinvention. But his true passion lay beyond Earth's atmosphere, in the stars and the vast frontier of space. Launching SpaceX was a gamble that many considered reckless. Early failures nearly bankrupted him, and public skepticism was fierce. Yet Elon pressed on, driven by a belief that humanity's future depended on expanding beyond the confines of Earth. Alongside his work with Tesla and SolarCity, Elon's goal to provide global internet through a network of satellites, Starlink, was born from a deeply personal desire to make connectivity universal. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a team of brilliant engineers and visionaries worked tirelessly to turn Elon's dream into reality. Among them was Sarah Matthews, a woman whose story was as compelling as Elon's and whose role in the project would prove pivotal. Sarah grew up in the small town of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where access to reliable internet was a daily struggle for many families, including her own. She remembers nights when her younger brother had to skip online homework assignments because the family's connection was too slow or dropped entirely. That frustration became a driving force in Sarah's life, fueling a passion for technology and innovation. She excelled academically, earning a scholarship to MIT, where she specialized in aerospace engineering and satellite communications. Sarah's journey was marked by sacrifices, leaving family behind, facing the challenges of being a woman in a male-dominated field, and the pressure of high expectations. But she shared Elon's relentless spirit, believing that technology could change lives for the better. When she was recruited to lead the communication systems team at SpaceX, it felt like a chance to bridge her past struggles with a mission that mattered globally. Sarah's dedication was evident in long hours spent testing prototypes, troubleshooting signal issues, and innovating new designs. Her team became a close-knit group, united by a shared belief in the project's potential. Together, they navigated technical setbacks, budget constraints, and mounting pressure to deliver results. The bond between Elon and Sarah grew stronger as they worked side by side, their visions aligned by a commitment to making free internet a reality for everyone, everywhere. But the path was far from smooth. The story of innovation is never just about technology, it's about people, their hopes, fears, conflicts, and resilience. As the satellite project progressed, tensions rose. Elon's ambitious deadlines clashed with the team's cautious approach, sparking heated debates over priorities and risks. At times, the weight of expectations seemed unbearable. Early tests revealed unexpected technical challenges, satellite components malfunctioned, signals faltered, and software glitches threatened timelines. Each failure was a blow, testing the team's resolve. In those moments, the true character of the project emerged, not just through the breakthroughs but in how people responded to setbacks. Elon, known for his high standards and unyielding drive, pushed the team hard, sometimes too hard. But he also inspired loyalty through his vision and willingness to take personal risks. Sarah, balancing technical expertise with empathy, became a bridge between Elon and the team, encouraging collaboration and resilience. Their dynamic was complex, a blend of tension, respect, and shared passion. Outside the technical struggles, external pressures mounted. Governments around the world scrutinized the project with suspicion. The idea of free, open internet challenged existing power structures and raised questions about security, privacy, and control. Regulatory hurdles appeared in the form of complex international laws and competing interests. Media narratives swung wildly from celebration to criticism, casting doubt on the feasibility and motives behind Starlink's ambitions. Elon faced public backlash and skepticism from powerful voices who feared losing control over digital access. Yet, amidst the storm, support came from grassroots communities, tech enthusiasts, and advocates for digital equity who saw Starlink as a beacon of hope. Their voices amplified the message that access to information is a fundamental right. Elon's personal life mirrored the project's ups and downs. The pressures of leadership and constant public scrutiny strained his relationships. Family gatherings were rare, and moments of quiet reflection few. But memories of his childhood struggles and dreams kept him grounded. Sarah's own personal battles intertwined with the mission's progress. Her brother's health challenges, reliant on technology, made the stakes deeply personal. She found strength in the project, knowing that success could mean a better future not just for millions but for her own family. As the day of the first major satellite launch approached, emotions ran high. The team faced unexpected weather disruptions, last-minute technical glitches, and the looming shadow of past failures. Yet, in those moments, something remarkable happened, a renewed sense of unity and purpose. Elon and Sarah, standing side by side, embodied the spirit of innovation, the courage to face uncertainty, to fail and try again, to push the boundaries of what is possible. The story of Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews is a story of resilience, vision, and the unbreakable human spirit. It reminds us that behind every technological breakthrough are the lives and dreams of people committed to making the world better. The satellite poised to launch is not just hardware in the sky, it's a symbol of hope, connection, and the power of daring to imagine a more connected future. As the countdown begins and the rocket lifts off, it carries with it not just a satellite but the collective hopes of billions yearning for a world where internet access is free and universal. This is a story still unfolding, one chapter at a time, with the promise that even in the face of adversity, innovation will lead the way. Behind every visionary like Elon Musk is a team of dedicated individuals whose passion and expertise bring dreams to life. Among the many engineers and scientists at SpaceX, a small core group worked around the clock on the Starlink satellite project. Their stories intertwined with Elon's mission, each person driven by a mix of personal sacrifice, idealism, and the hope of making history. Sarah Matthews, the lead engineer, was the heart of this group. Beyond her technical brilliance, Sarah's leadership style blended empathy and intensity, inspiring her team even when the pressure seemed insurmountable. Her office was cluttered with diagrams, coffee cups, and photographs of her family, reminders of what she was fighting for. Behind her determination was a deep well of personal experience. Growing up in rural Arkansas, Sarah had seen firsthand the frustration of families cut off from the digital world. Her younger brother, Tommy, was diagnosed with a chronic illness requiring regular telemedicine appointments, but the unreliable internet in their town made consistent care a challenge. This struggle became Sarah's motivation to join SpaceX and contribute to a project that promised to change lives worldwide. Her team reflected the same spirit of perseverance. There was Javier Lopez, a satellite communications specialist from Texas, who had joined the project after working on military satellites. Javier believed Starlink could democratize access to information, bridging the gap between privileged urban centers and remote communities. Then there was Priya Singh, a software engineer who had grown up in a densely populated neighborhood in New York City, witnessing the digital divide in her own community. Priya's innovative coding had fixed critical bugs in the satellite's control systems, often working late into the night to meet deadlines. The team's camaraderie was forged in long hours of collaboration, intense debates, and shared victories. Yet, the relentless pace left little room for personal lives. Birthdays and holidays were often spent in the lab, with team members connecting over shared pizza boxes and whiteboard brainstorming sessions. Each individual brought their own story of sacrifice, missed weddings, strained relationships, and moments of doubt. Yet, their belief in the mission remained steadfast. Conflict inevitably arose. Elon's ambitious timelines clashed with engineering realities, creating tension between management and technical teams. At times, Elon's relentless demands for progress left engineers exhausted and frustrated. Sarah often found herself mediating between Elon's visionary urgency and her team's need for careful precision. It was a delicate balance, pushing boundaries without breaking the team's spirit. The most challenging moments came during early satellite tests. A prototype launched prematurely failed to establish a stable connection, causing months of delays. The failure shook the team's confidence and invited public criticism. The media headlines questioned the project's viability, casting doubt on Elon's dream. But the team refused to give up. In the face of adversity, they doubled down, analyzing every failure with scientific rigor and determination. They re-engineered satellite components, rewrote software, and reimagined deployment strategies. Each setback was a lesson, and each small success a step closer to their goal. Outside the lab, the team felt the weight of the project's potential impact. Emails from activists in developing countries, letters from parents desperate for better educational resources, and stories of doctors struggling to reach patients via poor internet connections added a human dimension to their work. These messages became motivation, reminding everyone that this was more than technology, it was a lifeline. The relationships within the team were complex and evolving. Sarah formed a close friendship with Javier, whose calm pragmatism balanced her intensity. Priya and Sarah often stayed late, sharing hopes and frustrations over cups of coffee, discussing everything from the latest satellite telemetry to their dreams for a better world. Despite the high stakes, moments of levity emerged, inside jokes, impromptu celebrations after milestones, and small acts of kindness that kept morale afloat. Yet, tension simmered beneath the surface. Long hours and pressure strained friendships and romantic relationships. Sarah, deeply committed to the project, struggled to maintain connections outside work. She often found herself torn between personal needs and professional responsibilities. Elon's presence was both a source of inspiration and stress. His visionary ideas pushed the team to innovate beyond what seemed possible, but his demanding nature sometimes alienated those around him. His focus on results could feel unrelenting, yet his genuine belief in the mission inspired loyalty. The tension between visionary leadership and practical execution played out daily in meetings and labs, shaping the project's trajectory. As the launch date neared, the team faced their greatest challenge yet. The satellite prototype intended for final testing revealed unexpected interference in its communication array, threatening to delay the project indefinitely. Hours turned into days of sleepless troubleshooting. The pressure mounted as deadlines loomed and stakeholders demanded answers. Sarah took charge, coordinating teams, reallocating resources, and working closely with Elon to adjust expectations. In this crucible, the team's character was tested. Some engineers considered quitting, overwhelmed by the relentless pace. But Sarah's leadership kept the group focused, reminding them of the lives depending on their success. Finally, after weeks of exhaustive effort, the interference issue was isolated to a faulty component sourced from a supplier. Replacing it and redesigning the array resolved the problem. The breakthrough reinvigorated the team, allowing preparations to move forward. But the journey was far from over. External forces began to weigh heavily on the project. Government regulators raised concerns about space debris, frequency interference, and the security implications of a global satellite network accessible to anyone. International agencies demanded compliance with complex and sometimes contradictory regulations. Negotiations became a delicate dance, requiring diplomacy and legal expertise. Elon and his team had to balance innovation with accountability, pushing boundaries while addressing legitimate concerns. Meanwhile, media scrutiny intensified. Headlines questioned the cost, potential misuse, and unintended consequences of free global internet. Skeptics argued that such a project could exacerbate misinformation or threaten national security. Elon faced personal attacks and skepticism from political figures and industry rivals. Yet public support persisted, particularly from underserved communities and tech advocates who saw Starlink as a game-changer. The dichotomy of praise and criticism underscored the complex nature of technological progress. Throughout these external pressures, the internal team dynamics remained a source of strength. The team found solace in their shared purpose, often retreating to late-night discussions about the broader meaning of their work. Sarah and Elon's conversations evolved beyond technical details to include reflections on responsibility, ethics, and the future of humanity in a connected world. They debated fiercely but respectfully, each challenging the other to think deeper. These dialogues helped shape not just the satellite design but the project's mission and values. The story of Elon Musk's satellite innovation is not just about technology, it's about the people who build it, their struggles, sacrifices, hopes, and bonds. It is a story of resilience in the face of adversity, where individual dreams merge into a collective mission to transform the world. As the first launch date approached, the team was united by a powerful sense of destiny, aware that their work could redefine global connectivity forever. The stakes had never been higher, but so was their resolve. In the quiet moments before launch, Sarah reflected on how far they had come, from a small idea born of frustration with slow internet access to a complex network poised to change lives around the globe. She thought of her brother Tommy, hoping that their work would give him and millions like him the connection they deserved. Elon, standing nearby, was a man shaped by past failures and relentless ambition, driven not just by profit but by a vision of a future where technology breaks down barriers rather than building them. Together, they faced the unknown with courage and conviction. The launch was more than a technical milestone, it was a testament to human ingenuity and the power of collaboration. It was a promise that even in a world filled with challenges, connection and hope could prevail. The story continues, each success and setback a chapter in the unfolding saga of innovation and determination. As the countdown to the first satellite deployment ticks closer, one truth remains clear: behind every great achievement are the stories of the people who dared to believe in something bigger than themselves. The moment the satellite soared into orbit marked the beginning of an intense and unpredictable journey, one that would test Elon Musk, Sarah Matthews, and the entire SpaceX team like never before. The initial excitement of success quickly gave way to the stark reality of operating a complex network millions of miles above the Earth. As the satellite began transmitting data, subtle irregularities in its signal raised alarms in the control room. The team watched in tense silence as the data feed flickered, sometimes fading to static before stabilizing. Elon paced the room, his mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Was this a temporary glitch, or a sign of deeper issues threatening the mission's viability? Sarah's fingers flew across the keyboard, coordinating diagnostics and running simulations. Every piece of data was scrutinized, every anomaly dissected. The problem was elusive, a mysterious interference that defied initial explanations. As hours stretched into days, the team realized that the satellite's new advanced phased array antenna, a revolutionary technology meant to increase bandwidth and coverage, was behaving unpredictably in the harsh environment of space. Radiation, cosmic particles, and temperature extremes were affecting the hardware in ways laboratory tests hadn't fully anticipated. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If the antenna failed, the promise of free global internet could unravel. Elon called an emergency meeting, gathering engineers, scientists, and advisors to chart a path forward. The discussion was heated. Some advocated for immediate corrective commands to the satellite, risking further damage, while others urged caution, recommending a pause to collect more data. Sarah stood at the center, balancing the competing views. Her years of experience and deep understanding of the system gave her confidence to propose a bold solution, remotely reconfiguring the antenna's software algorithms to adapt to the unpredictable space conditions. It was a gamble. The satellite was designed to receive updates, but this kind of major adjustment had never been tested in orbit. A mistake could sever communication entirely, rendering the satellite useless. Elon listened intently, weighing the risks. Then, in his trademark style, he made the call. Let's do it. We can't wait for perfect conditions, progress requires risk. The control room buzzed with focused energy as Sarah led the software team in crafting and testing the patch. Every line of code was reviewed with painstaking care. The clock was ticking, each hour delayed meant lost opportunities to connect underserved regions. Meanwhile, outside the lab, the world watched anxiously. Media outlets speculated on the mission's troubles, investors questioned the project's timeline, and critics seized on any hint of failure to undermine Starlink's credibility. But among communities in remote corners of the globe, hope remained strong. People who had long been disconnected sent messages of encouragement to the team, sharing their dreams of finally accessing education, healthcare, and economic opportunities through the internet. After days of sleepless effort, the software patch was ready for deployment. The control room fell silent as the update was sent, pulses racing. The satellite's response was instantaneous. The flickering signals began to stabilize, data flowed more smoothly, and connection strength improved. Cheers erupted. The satellite was adapting and surviving the unforgiving environment of space. This success was a turning point, but the journey was far from over. The satellite was just the first of thousands planned for deployment to create a global network. Each launch would present new challenges, technical, logistical, and political. Elon and Sarah knew that sustaining this momentum required more than engineering brilliance, it demanded vision, collaboration, and perseverance. Over the following weeks, the team refined the satellite systems, integrating lessons learned from the in-orbit tests. Production ramped up, and new satellites were launched in rapid succession. The constellation grew, slowly but steadily extending coverage across continents and oceans. As connectivity expanded, stories poured in from around the world, farmers in remote villages accessing weather forecasts for the first time, students in mountainous regions attending virtual classes, small businesses reaching new customers online. These tangible impacts fueled the team's determination. However, with progress came new complications. As the network grew, so did concerns about space traffic and debris. Astronomers warned that thousands of satellites crowded in low Earth orbit could interfere with observations and increase the risk of collisions. International regulators demanded stricter safety protocols and transparency. Elon engaged directly with global space agencies, advocating for responsible practices and proposing innovative solutions such as autonomous collision avoidance systems. These efforts underscored a fundamental tension in the project, advancing connectivity while preserving the fragile environment of space. Domestically, political resistance surfaced. Some government officials and telecom giants feared that free global internet could disrupt existing markets and threaten national security. Debates erupted in congressional hearings and public forums. Elon took to social media and public speaking engagements to defend Starlink's mission, emphasizing digital equity and economic empowerment. He faced tough questions and skepticism but remained steadfast. Sarah found herself navigating these political currents as well, often briefing policymakers and technical advisors on the satellite's capabilities and safeguards. She became a crucial advocate for transparency and ethical innovation, believing that open dialogue was essential to building trust. Despite external pressures, the team's internal culture thrived on a shared commitment to making a difference. Milestones were celebrated with quiet satisfaction, each successful launch, each new coverage map, each message from a newly connected user. Sarah's leadership evolved, balancing technical demands with the human stories that made their work meaningful. One particularly memorable moment came when a remote school in Alaska, previously without reliable internet, broadcast a live thank you message to the team during a video call. Tears welled in many eyes as children sang songs and asked questions about the satellites orbiting above them. For Sarah and Elon, this was a poignant reminder of why they persevered through countless setbacks and sleepless nights. Yet, the mission's pace left little time for reflection. As the constellation approached full operational capacity, the team confronted a new challenge: scaling infrastructure to support millions of simultaneous users without compromising speed or reliability. This required breakthroughs in ground stations, data routing, and cloud computing integration. Sarah spearheaded collaborations with industry partners, universities, and startups to innovate at every level of the network. This phase of rapid expansion tested the team's resilience anew. Network outages, cyber threats, and hardware failures surfaced unexpectedly, demanding quick adaptation. Public expectations soared, and any hiccup was magnified on social media and news cycles. Through it all, Elon's relentless drive and Sarah's steady leadership kept the mission on course. Meanwhile, the human impact of Starlink continued to deepen. Stories emerged of entrepreneurs launching businesses in previously inaccessible regions, healthcare workers conducting telemedicine consultations in isolated communities, and families reuniting over video calls for the first time in years. The technology was not just connecting devices, it was connecting lives. As the network matured, ethical questions took center stage. Who controlled the data flowing through these satellites? How could privacy and security be ensured? What responsibilities did Starlink have to combat misinformation or harmful content? Elon and Sarah convened advisory panels of experts, policymakers, and community leaders to address these concerns transparently. Their approach emphasized collaboration and accountability, recognizing that technology alone could not solve societal challenges. At home, the personal toll of the project became clearer. Elon's relentless schedule strained his relationships, with public scrutiny magnifying every misstep. Sarah grappled with balancing the demands of leadership and her family life, especially her brother's ongoing health needs. Both found moments of solace in quiet conversations, shared meals, and brief respites from the spotlight. Their partnership, forged in high-stakes innovation, became a source of mutual strength. As Starlink approached its goal of near-global coverage, the project faced a final major test: launching satellites over politically sensitive regions where governments were wary of foreign technology and open internet access. Negotiations were delicate and complex, requiring diplomacy and compromise. Elon engaged with international leaders personally, advocating for the universal right to connectivity while respecting sovereignty and security concerns. These efforts highlighted the intersection of technology and geopolitics in the 21st century. In parallel, competitors and critics intensified efforts to challenge Starlink's dominance. Alternative satellite networks, terrestrial internet providers, and regulatory bodies pushed back, creating a dynamic and sometimes hostile landscape. Elon and his team remained vigilant, continuously innovating and advocating to maintain momentum. Throughout this climactic journey, the core mission remained clear: to bring free, reliable internet to every corner of the globe. The challenges were immense, but so was the opportunity, to transform education, healthcare, commerce, and communication on an unprecedented scale. Sarah often reflected on the irony that a network built in the cold vacuum of space could warm the hearts and minds of millions on Earth. Elon's vision, once dismissed as fantasy, was becoming reality. Yet, the story was far from over. Each success unveiled new questions, new challenges, and new possibilities. The journey of innovation is never linear, and the Starlink project embodied this truth fully. As the constellation of satellites continued to grow, as connectivity blossomed in places long forgotten by progress, a profound sense of hope emerged. The hope that technology could be a force for good, a bridge rather than a barrier, a light in the darkest corners of the world. This hope fueled every line of code written, every component tested, every negotiation held. It was a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. As night fell over Cape Canaveral, the glow of screens illuminated the faces of the team, tired but determined, knowing that their work was changing the world. Elon stood by the observation window, gazing up at the stars where their satellites now orbited. In that moment, the vastness of space seemed less daunting, filled instead with promise and connection. The satellite innovation that began as a dream was now a living network, weaving together a global community. This was only the beginning of a new era, one defined not by borders or barriers, but by the shared human desire to connect, learn, and grow. The journey ahead would be challenging, unpredictable, and extraordinary. But with vision, courage, and collaboration, the impossible was within reach. The story of Elon Musk's new satellite innovation is a story of hope, a beacon shining across the planet, illuminating the path toward a more connected and equitable future. The emotional climax of Elon Musk's satellite project came unexpectedly, on a crisp autumn evening when the entire team gathered at the SpaceX control center for what was supposed to be a routine network performance review. What began as a typical check-in quickly transformed into a moment of profound revelation that shook everyone to their core and forever altered the trajectory of the mission. As data streamed in from the constellation, Sarah Matthews noticed an anomaly, an unusual spike in traffic from a remote region in sub-Saharan Africa. Curious, she dug deeper and discovered that the Starlink network had suddenly connected a cluster of villages that had never before had reliable internet access. What made it extraordinary was not just the connection itself but what followed. Messages, video calls, and data flowed freely, and the local communities immediately began leveraging the technology in ways the team had only hoped for. Teachers shared lessons with students miles apart, doctors conducted virtual health clinics, and entrepreneurs launched businesses that tapped into global markets. Then came the unexpected, an impassioned plea from a young woman named Amina, transmitted through Starlink's network, asking for help to protect her village from an imminent natural disaster, a devastating flood. She had used the internet to contact emergency services and mobilize aid, but the region was so remote that traditional communication lines had failed. The satellite network was literally saving lives. The news spread rapidly, capturing the attention of the team, the media, and humanitarian organizations worldwide. For Sarah, it was a deeply personal moment. She remembered her brother Tommy's struggles with accessing care back home and felt a surge of emotion realizing that their work was now touching lives in real and urgent ways. Elon, too, was moved, recognizing that the dream he had chased for years was now a tangible force for good. Yet, this triumph was not without its complications. The flood response revealed vulnerabilities in the network's security and bandwidth allocation, prompting urgent upgrades and new protocols to handle emergency traffic without disrupting service for others. The team worked around the clock, integrating feedback from humanitarian groups and local users. These efforts underscored a critical truth: technology was only as powerful as the systems and communities that supported it. The emotional climax also forced Elon and Sarah to confront deeper ethical questions. What responsibilities did they have to ensure their network was used for positive ends? How could they prevent misuse, misinformation, or exploitation? These questions weighed heavily as the satellite constellation expanded and more diverse populations came online. Internally, the team grappled with the magnitude of their mission. Engineers who once saw their work as purely technical now understood its profound human impact. Sarah found herself mentoring her colleagues through moments of doubt and exhaustion, reminding them of the stories behind the code and hardware. Elon's leadership style evolved as well. He grew more attuned to the social implications of Starlink, engaging with ethicists and community leaders to guide responsible innovation. The flood crisis sparked a turning point in public perception. Starlink was no longer just a high-tech project, it was a lifeline. Governments and NGOs that had been skeptical began to collaborate more closely with SpaceX, leveraging the network for disaster response, education, and economic development. The satellite constellation became a symbol of hope and resilience. Yet, with this new status came increased scrutiny. Privacy advocates raised concerns about data collection and surveillance. Some governments feared loss of control over information flow. Elon and Sarah faced the challenge of balancing openness with security, transparency with innovation. They worked tirelessly to implement robust privacy safeguards and governance frameworks, often consulting diverse stakeholders worldwide. The emotional climax also highlighted the personal costs of the mission. Sarah's relationship with her family was strained by long absences and emotional distance. Elon's relentless pace affected his health and personal life. Both found themselves at crossroads, questioning how to sustain their passion without sacrificing well-being. Moments of vulnerability emerged, late-night conversations about fear, hope, and the meaning of success. These honest dialogues deepened their resolve to build not just technology but a culture of care within their team. The crisis underscored the unpredictable nature of innovation. What began as an engineering challenge had blossomed into a complex web of human stories, ethical dilemmas, and global impact. The emotional climax was a reminder that technology is never neutral, it carries the values, hopes, and struggles of those who create and use it. As the network matured, new opportunities and challenges arose. Starlink was poised to disrupt education, healthcare, commerce, and governance on an unprecedented scale. But it also had to navigate geopolitical tensions, regulatory hurdles, and the risk of unintended consequences. Elon and Sarah committed to ongoing dialogue with communities, policymakers, and experts to adapt and learn continuously. The story of Starlink's emotional climax is a testament to the power of resilience, empathy, and vision. It illustrates how the fusion of technology and humanity can create profound change, even in the face of uncertainty and adversity. For Sarah, Elon, and their team, it was a moment of affirmation and awakening, a glimpse of the future they were helping to build. In the aftermath, the project accelerated with renewed energy and purpose. Starlink's next phase focused on enhancing network reliability, expanding coverage, and deepening community partnerships. The team launched initiatives to support digital literacy, local content creation, and inclusive governance models. Elon's public narrative shifted toward a message of global solidarity, emphasizing that connectivity was a shared human right and a foundation for collective progress. Behind the scenes, Sarah championed efforts to foster diversity and inclusion within the tech industry, mentoring young women and underrepresented minorities inspired by the project's mission. Her leadership style became a model for balancing technical excellence with social responsibility. The emotional climax resonated far beyond the control room. It inspired a generation of innovators, activists, and everyday people who saw technology as a tool for empowerment rather than exclusion. It sparked conversations about the future of connectivity, ethics, and human dignity in the digital age. It challenged assumptions and expanded horizons. As the satellite constellation continued to orbit Earth, beaming signals to the most remote and marginalized communities, the story of Starlink embodied a profound truth, that innovation is not just about invention but about connection, compassion, and courage. The emotional climax was a milestone, but also a beginning, a call to action and reflection. It reminded everyone involved that technology must serve humanity's highest ideals, and that the path forward requires humility, vigilance, and hope. In the years to come, the lessons learned during this pivotal moment would guide the project through triumphs and trials, shaping a future where free, reliable internet was not a privilege but a universal right. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had become more than a technical marvel, it was a beacon of possibility and humanity's enduring quest to connect and uplift one another across the vastness of space and the complexity of our shared world. After the emotional climax that revealed Starlink's life-saving impact, the project entered a new phase marked by both triumph and profound reflection. Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews faced the enormous task of transforming the satellite constellation from a groundbreaking prototype into a sustainable, scalable global network capable of serving millions. The challenges were immense, technological, logistical, political, and deeply human. Yet the team's determination only grew stronger. Early morning meetings became routine, the hum of servers and the glow of monitors serving as constant reminders of the work ahead. Elon remained the visionary, pushing boundaries, inspiring his team to embrace bold innovation while navigating the complex realities of space technology. Sarah's leadership evolved alongside, her focus shifting from technical problem-solving to guiding the network's integration into diverse communities worldwide. One of the greatest challenges was ensuring the network's accessibility to the most marginalized populations. While Starlink's signal could reach remote areas, many users lacked the equipment or digital literacy needed to connect. Sarah spearheaded partnerships with NGOs, local governments, and educational groups to distribute user terminals and provide training. This outreach was critical. In a village high in the Andes, an indigenous teacher named Carlos became a Starlink ambassador, teaching elders and children how to use the new technology. Stories of transformation followed, families accessing health advice via telemedicine, farmers checking market prices, youth discovering new worlds through online education. These moments rekindled the team's passion and underscored the project's social mission. Technological innovation continued at a breakneck pace. The constellation expanded rapidly, with new satellites launched every few weeks, each iteration improving bandwidth, latency, and resilience. Elon pushed for miniaturization of hardware and increased energy efficiency, driven by a desire to reduce space debris and environmental impact. Meanwhile, the ground infrastructure evolved with new data centers and smarter routing algorithms, designed to optimize global traffic and anticipate network demand. But growth brought new obstacles. As the network expanded, so did concerns about cybersecurity threats. Hackers and malicious actors sought to exploit vulnerabilities, potentially disrupting service or compromising user privacy. Sarah established a dedicated cybersecurity team that worked around the clock, implementing advanced encryption protocols, intrusion detection systems, and rapid response mechanisms. Transparency became a key priority. Starlink publicly reported security updates and collaborated with global cyber defense initiatives. In parallel, regulatory landscapes became more complex. Different countries imposed varying rules on satellite usage, data transmission, and spectrum allocation. Some governments welcomed Starlink as a tool for development, while others viewed it with suspicion, fearing loss of control or national security risks. Elon personally engaged with policymakers worldwide, advocating for balanced frameworks that fostered innovation while protecting sovereignty. Sarah often accompanied him, providing technical expertise and emphasizing the importance of community involvement in decision-making. These diplomatic efforts were painstaking but essential to unlocking access in politically sensitive regions. The political challenges also highlighted broader questions about the role of private companies in global infrastructure. Critics debated whether Starlink's mission served the public interest or corporate ambitions. Elon and Sarah faced difficult choices. Balancing profitability with accessibility, innovation with regulation, speed with safety. These tensions fueled ongoing conversations within the team about corporate responsibility and ethical innovation. On the personal front, the project's demands took a toll. Elon's relentless pace strained relationships, with media scrutiny amplifying every misstep or controversial statement. Sarah juggled leadership duties with family responsibilities, especially supporting her brother Tommy's health journey. Both found solace in moments of quiet reflection, long walks under the stars, candid talks with trusted colleagues, brief escapes from the spotlight. Their partnership deepened through shared challenges and mutual respect, a rare anchor amid the whirlwind. The emotional weight of the project sometimes felt overwhelming. Late nights in the control room, Sarah would pause to read messages from new users, stories of hope and gratitude from around the world. These human connections infused her work with meaning, reminding her why the sacrifices were worth it. Elon, too, found inspiration in these stories, fueling his drive to push the boundaries of possibility. The network's societal impact grew in unexpected ways. Access to reliable internet sparked grassroots entrepreneurship, with small businesses harnessing digital platforms to reach wider markets. Remote healthcare providers expanded services through telemedicine, improving outcomes and saving lives. Students in isolated regions accessed virtual classrooms, connecting with teachers and peers worldwide. The digital divide, long a barrier to progress, began to narrow. Yet, the rapid expansion also brought unintended consequences. The proliferation of online content led to the spread of misinformation and harmful material in some communities. Starlink's team grappled with how to balance open access with content moderation, privacy, and user rights. Sarah advocated for community-led solutions, partnering with local organizations to develop culturally appropriate guidelines and digital literacy programs. These efforts reflected a commitment to not only connect people but empower them to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly. Environmental sustainability remained a constant concern. With thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit, the risk of space debris and interference with astronomical research grew. Elon committed SpaceX to rigorous debris mitigation strategies, including satellite deorbiting protocols and transparency in orbital data sharing. Collaborations with space agencies, universities, and international bodies aimed to establish global norms for responsible space use. This multifaceted approach reflected an awareness that technological progress must coexist with stewardship of shared resources. As the constellation approached full operational capacity, the team prepared for a momentous milestone, connecting the final regions and achieving near-global coverage. Media attention intensified, and public expectations soared. The project's narrative shifted from experimental innovation to transformative infrastructure. Elon embraced this new role, positioning Starlink as a catalyst for global equity and progress. The launch event was a carefully orchestrated celebration, broadcast worldwide. Speeches highlighted the project's journey, the setbacks, breakthroughs, and human stories behind the technology. Sarah shared heartfelt reflections on the team's resilience and the communities touched by connectivity. The event was more than a launch, it was a call to action, inviting global collaboration to harness the power of connectivity for collective good. Yet, even amid celebration, the team knew the work was not done. New challenges loomed on the horizon. Integrating artificial intelligence to optimize network performance, expanding capacity to meet growing demand, and exploring ways to bridge connectivity with emerging technologies like virtual reality and smart infrastructure. The mission was an ongoing journey, fueled by curiosity, compassion, and courage. Looking ahead, Elon and Sarah envisioned Starlink not just as an internet provider but as a platform for innovation and empowerment. Initiatives were underway to support digital entrepreneurship, cultural exchange, and inclusive governance. The network's potential to amplify marginalized voices and foster global dialogue was a beacon of hope in a fractured world. Through all the complexities and contradictions, the core mission remained unchanged: to connect people, bridge divides, and create opportunities where none existed before. Elon Musk's satellite innovation had transcended technology to become a movement, a testament to what humanity can achieve when vision meets perseverance and heart. The story of Starlink's growth and maturation is one of transformation, of ideas into reality, of obstacles into opportunities, and of disconnected communities into a global network bound by possibility. For Sarah and Elon, the journey was a continuous balancing act, between ambition and humility, speed and caution, profit and purpose. Their leadership embodied the hope that innovation can serve not just the privileged but everyone, everywhere. As night fell over the SpaceX campus, the constellation above continued its silent orbit, beaming signals to the farthest reaches of the planet. The glow of screens lit the faces of the team, tired but unbowed, united by a shared belief in the power of connection. In this moment of reflection and renewal, it was clear that Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had not only changed the way the world accessed the internet but had begun to reshape the very fabric of human potential. The turning point for Starlink came not in the lab or the control room but in the bustling streets of a small town in Appalachia. The team had long envisioned their satellite constellation as a bridge across the digital divide, but seeing its impact firsthand gave new urgency and meaning to their mission. The town of Cedar Ridge had struggled for years with limited internet options, slow, expensive, and unreliable. Local businesses suffered, students fell behind, and healthcare providers grappled with outdated systems. When Starlink terminals were first deployed, many residents were skeptical. Technology had promised much before, only to disappoint. But the initial days of connectivity changed everything. Mary Collins, a single mother and local schoolteacher, was among the first to experience the network's power. Her classroom, once constrained by outdated textbooks and limited resources, blossomed with access to global educational content. She connected her students with virtual field trips, online tutors, and interactive learning platforms. The students' enthusiasm was palpable. For many, the digital world opened new horizons and dreams. Meanwhile, local entrepreneur Jack Turner used Starlink to expand his handmade furniture business. Previously confined to walk-in customers, Jack's online presence now attracted buyers from across the country. Orders increased, revenues grew, and he hired additional staff, revitalizing the town's economy. Healthcare providers, too, embraced the change. Nurse practitioner Lisa Hernandez began conducting telehealth consultations with specialists hundreds of miles away, enabling early diagnosis and better treatment plans. Patients who once faced long, costly trips to distant hospitals could now receive timely care from their homes. These stories spread quickly, transforming Cedar Ridge's identity and inspiring neighboring communities. For Sarah Matthews, visiting Cedar Ridge was a moment of deep connection and affirmation. Walking the streets, meeting residents, hearing their stories, she felt the project's impact in tangible, human terms. The smiles of children logging into virtual classrooms, the excitement of entrepreneurs tapping new markets, the relief of patients receiving care, it was all more than data or signals. It was hope realized. This visit also exposed challenges. Some residents struggled with the new technology. Older adults found user interfaces confusing, and some households lacked the devices needed to get online. Infrastructure in the town was patchy, with some areas still requiring signal boosters or improved power sources. Sarah's team took these observations seriously, launching initiatives to provide devices, training, and technical support. Partnerships with local libraries, schools, and community centers became hubs for digital literacy, ensuring that connectivity translated into meaningful access. These efforts reflected a commitment to equity, recognizing that providing a signal was only the first step. On a broader scale, Cedar Ridge became a microcosm of the complex interplay between technology and society. The Starlink project had to evolve beyond engineering solutions to address social, cultural, and economic factors influencing adoption and impact. Elon Musk and his team realized that technology was not a silver bullet but part of a larger ecosystem requiring collaboration, empathy, and adaptability. Back at SpaceX headquarters, the Cedar Ridge visit reinvigorated the team's purpose. Inspired by the community's resilience and creativity, engineers, designers, and outreach coordinators redoubled efforts to refine the network, develop user-friendly tools, and foster partnerships worldwide. The momentum was palpable. The project was no longer just about satellites in orbit but about people on the ground, their lives transformed by connectivity. As the constellation expanded, new communities came online, each with unique needs and stories. From the plains of the Midwest to island villages in the Pacific, Starlink's reach sparked innovation, education, and hope. The team learned from each context, adapting technology and approaches to maximize positive impact. This iterative process underscored a profound lesson: true innovation requires listening, learning, and humility. Meanwhile, the project continued to face formidable obstacles. Geopolitical tensions around satellite technology and spectrum usage complicated deployment in some regions. Competition from other providers and emerging technologies pressured Starlink to innovate faster and smarter. Internally, maintaining team cohesion amid rapid growth was challenging. Burnout and fatigue tested leadership. Sarah prioritized mental health initiatives, open communication, and recognition of contributions, fostering a culture of care alongside excellence. Elon's public persona evolved as well. No longer just the eccentric entrepreneur, he embraced a role as a global advocate for digital inclusion and responsible innovation. His speeches highlighted the moral imperative of connectivity, framing Starlink as a force for peace, education, and empowerment. This messaging resonated widely, garnering support from governments, nonprofits, and citizens alike. Yet, the team remained grounded, aware that progress was neither linear nor guaranteed. Technical glitches, regulatory setbacks, and unforeseen consequences required resilience and flexibility. The Starlink story was one of constant adaptation, a testament to the complexity of real-world innovation. As Starlink's influence grew, so did conversations about the future of connectivity and society. Issues of data privacy, digital rights, and the ethical use of technology took center stage. Elon and Sarah engaged with ethicists, policymakers, and civil society to shape frameworks that balanced innovation with protection of individual freedoms. These dialogues emphasized that connectivity was not just a commodity but a human right embedded in broader social justice. On a personal level, the Cedar Ridge visit deepened Sarah's commitment to community-driven innovation. She began advocating for inclusive design principles, ensuring that technology development involved diverse voices and addressed real needs. Her leadership style blended technical expertise with empathy and humility, inspiring a new generation of engineers and leaders to embrace socially conscious innovation. The chapter closes with a scene of hope and possibility. As the sun sets over Cedar Ridge, children gather in a community center, illuminated by the glow of screens connected through Starlink. Their laughter and curiosity fill the room, a powerful reminder that behind every signal and satellite lies the potential to transform lives and build a more connected, equitable world. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had not only bridged digital divides but had sparked a global movement, one that embraced the power of technology to uplift, empower, and unite humanity in pursuit of a brighter future. As Starlink satellites continued to orbit Earth, beaming signals across continents and oceans, a new phase of the project began, one defined by innovation beyond connectivity. Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews realized that providing free internet was only the foundation. The real breakthrough would come from harnessing the network to empower entire ecosystems of technology, culture, and society. With the core infrastructure in place, the team shifted focus to building platforms and services that leveraged Starlink's global reach to foster creativity, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. The first major initiative was the launch of the Starlink Innovation Hub, a virtual space designed to connect developers, startups, educators, and creators worldwide. The hub offered tools, resources, and funding opportunities, encouraging users in remote or underserved regions to build applications and content tailored to their communities. Sarah championed this project, believing that true empowerment came not just from access but from agency, the ability for people to shape their digital experiences and futures. The Innovation Hub quickly became a vibrant ecosystem. In rural India, a group of young programmers developed a mobile app that connected farmers with real-time weather updates and market prices. In Brazil's Amazon region, indigenous artists used the platform to share their stories and crafts with a global audience, preserving culture and generating income. In Eastern Europe, educators collaborated on multilingual digital curricula that reached refugee children displaced by conflict. Each story was a testament to the transformative power of connectivity paired with creativity and local insight. The platform also fostered global collaborations that transcended borders and disciplines. Scientists shared open-source data on climate change, activists organized digital campaigns for social justice, and healthcare professionals exchanged knowledge about emerging diseases. Starlink was becoming more than an internet provider, it was a catalyst for global solidarity and innovation. Behind the scenes, Elon and Sarah pushed for seamless integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning into the network. AI-driven algorithms optimized bandwidth allocation, predicted maintenance needs, and personalized user experiences. These advances improved efficiency and reliability, crucial for maintaining service quality as demand surged. However, they also raised important ethical questions. Sarah convened an ethics advisory board composed of technologists, philosophers, human rights experts, and community representatives to guide AI development with transparency, fairness, and respect for privacy. The board's recommendations influenced design choices and governance policies, reinforcing Starlink's commitment to responsible innovation. Meanwhile, the team explored how Starlink could support emerging technologies poised to redefine human interaction. Virtual and augmented reality applications, powered by low-latency satellite internet, opened new frontiers in education, entertainment, and communication. Pilots in remote regions used VR simulations for training, students attended immersive history lessons, and families separated by distance shared lifelike moments. The blending of physical and digital realities expanded possibilities and challenged assumptions about connection. At the same time, Starlink's environmental initiatives intensified. Elon insisted on minimizing the constellation's ecological footprint. SpaceX invested heavily in developing biodegradable satellite components and pioneering debris removal technologies. Collaborations with astronomers led to innovations that reduced light pollution, preserving the night sky for future generations. These efforts embodied a holistic vision, technology that advanced humanity while honoring Earth's fragile ecosystems. The project's social impact deepened as well. Starlink partnered with global health organizations to create telemedicine networks in underserved regions, providing critical care during outbreaks and emergencies. Educational programs tailored to local languages and cultures improved literacy and digital skills. Economic development initiatives supported microenterprises and cooperative businesses, fostering inclusive growth. Sarah often traveled to meet partners and beneficiaries, grounding the project in real-world needs and aspirations. Her personal journey mirrored the mission's evolution. Once a young engineer focused on technical challenges, she had grown into a leader who understood that technology's true power lay in serving humanity's deepest values. Her empathy and vision inspired colleagues and communities alike, shaping a culture of care and innovation within SpaceX. Elon's role expanded beyond entrepreneur to global advocate. He spoke at international forums, championing universal connectivity as a fundamental human right and a cornerstone of sustainable development. His message resonated amid growing awareness of digital inequality's social and economic consequences. Despite immense progress, challenges persisted. Geopolitical tensions over satellite technology and spectrum allocation complicated deployment in certain regions. Cybersecurity threats evolved constantly, requiring vigilant defense and collaboration across borders. Misinformation and digital exclusion remained concerns, demanding ongoing efforts to build trust and digital literacy. Internally, balancing rapid innovation with ethical responsibility and operational stability required delicate leadership. Sarah and Elon prioritized transparency, stakeholder engagement, and adaptive governance to navigate this complex landscape. Their partnership was a model of complementary strengths, Elon's visionary drive balanced by Sarah's pragmatic empathy and collaborative spirit. Together, they fostered an environment where ambitious ideas could flourish alongside thoughtful stewardship. The chapter closes with a glimpse into the future Starlink was helping to create. In a remote village in East Africa, a young girl named Aisha attends school through a holographic interface powered by Starlink's network. She participates in a global science fair, collaborating with peers thousands of miles away. Meanwhile, her mother accesses telehealth services, and her community runs a cooperative marketplace online. Across the world, similar stories unfold, a mosaic of hope, innovation, and connection. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had transcended its original promise of free internet to become a platform for human potential, a beacon lighting the way toward a more inclusive, creative, and connected world. The rapid growth of Starlink's satellite network began to attract the attention of powerful interests worldwide, both allies and adversaries. As Elon Musk's vision to provide free, global internet moved closer to reality, it stirred deep concerns among governments wary of losing control over their digital domains. The stakes were enormous. Access to information had become a new form of power, reshaping economies, politics, and societies. Some governments embraced Starlink, seeing it as a tool for development and modernization. Others viewed it as a threat, fearing espionage, influence, or loss of sovereignty. Diplomatic tensions simmered beneath the surface, occasionally flaring into public disputes over spectrum rights, regulatory approvals, and data governance. Elon and Sarah understood that technical innovation alone would not suffice. Navigating this geopolitical minefield demanded strategic diplomacy, cultural sensitivity, and alliances. Elon used his global platform to advocate for open internet principles, while Sarah led quiet negotiations with regulators and civil society. Their approach was grounded in transparency and collaboration, aiming to build trust and mutual benefit. One significant challenge emerged from the increasing militarization of space. As nations expanded their space capabilities, including anti-satellite weapons and surveillance satellites, Starlink's constellation became entangled in debates over space security. Elon publicly called for international treaties to protect commercial and civilian satellites from conflict, emphasizing that space should remain a shared domain for peaceful use and human advancement. Sarah worked closely with space agencies and international organizations to promote norms and safeguards. Internally, the team fortified the network against cyber threats. The scale and visibility of Starlink made it a tempting target for hackers, state-sponsored actors, and criminals seeking to disrupt communication or steal data. Advanced encryption, distributed security protocols, and rapid incident response systems became essential pillars of the project's resilience. The cybersecurity team operated around the clock, often collaborating with global partners to detect and mitigate emerging threats. Meanwhile, the social impact of Starlink's connectivity continued to evolve in unexpected ways. Access to reliable internet fueled grassroots political engagement and activism, empowering marginalized voices but also igniting tensions in societies grappling with change. Elon and Sarah recognized the delicate balance between promoting freedom of expression and respecting local contexts and laws. They invested in digital literacy programs that emphasized critical thinking, media awareness, and respectful dialogue, aiming to cultivate informed and constructive online communities. The constellation's expansion also brought new economic dynamics. In some regions, traditional telecommunications providers felt threatened by Starlink's disruption, lobbying governments to impose restrictions or taxes. Elon engaged in public debates, advocating for competition and innovation as drivers of progress while exploring partnerships to integrate Starlink with existing infrastructures. Sarah coordinated outreach to ensure that the technology complemented rather than displaced local economies. These challenges underscored the complex interplay of technology, power, and society. Starlink was not just a network of satellites, it was a force reshaping global relationships, economies, and cultures. Elon and Sarah's leadership required not only technical expertise but political acumen, cultural intelligence, and ethical clarity. Their journey mirrored humanity's broader struggle to harness technology for good amid competing interests and uncertainties. On the personal front, the pressures of leading such a transformative project took a toll. Elon's relentless pace sometimes strained his health and relationships, while Sarah balanced the demands of leadership with her commitment to family and community. Both sought moments of reflection and renewal, drawing strength from shared purpose and mutual support. The team's culture evolved to emphasize well-being alongside excellence, recognizing that sustainable innovation depended on human resilience. As Starlink approached full global coverage, the project's narrative shifted from technological marvel to social movement. Elon and Sarah framed connectivity as a foundational human right and a catalyst for inclusive development. They called on governments, businesses, and civil society to collaborate in building digital ecosystems that were equitable, secure, and empowering. This vision resonated amid growing global recognition of the Internet's central role in opportunity and justice. The chapter closes with a moment of symbolic significance. In a remote refugee camp, Starlink's signal enabled a makeshift school to operate online, connecting displaced children with teachers worldwide. The camp's director thanked Sarah and Elon, describing how the technology restored hope and dignity amid hardship. As Elon watched the live stream, he felt the profound weight and promise of their work. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had become a beacon in a complex, interconnected world, challenging power, bridging divides, and illuminating paths toward a more just and connected future. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? As Starlink's constellation matured, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews turned their attention to one of the most ambitious and challenging goals yet, extending internet access to the most remote and underserved regions on the planet, places where infrastructure was nearly non-existent, and the barriers to connectivity seemed insurmountable. Their vision was clear. No matter how isolated, no matter how difficult the terrain or political situation, everyone deserved a chance to be part of the digital age. Achieving this meant pushing the boundaries of technology, logistics, and diplomacy in ways the team had never before encountered. One of the greatest obstacles was the diverse and harsh environments where Starlink aimed to operate. The Amazon rainforest, with its dense canopy and limited power sources, the vast deserts of Central Australia, where extreme temperatures and dust posed equipment risks, and the Arctic regions, where long, dark winters and severe storms challenged network reliability. Each environment demanded customized solutions. Engineers developed ruggedized Starlink terminals with reinforced casings, solar-powered systems, and adaptive software capable of handling intermittent power and variable atmospheric conditions. Deployment teams collaborated closely with local communities to understand their specific needs and constraints, ensuring that technology was appropriate and sustainable. Sarah spearheaded initiatives to train local technicians and establish community tech hubs, fostering local ownership and capacity building. This approach proved critical in gaining trust and ensuring long-term success. Alongside these technical challenges were political and regulatory hurdles. Many remote areas lay within territories governed by complex, often fragile administrations or indigenous peoples with distinct cultures and priorities. Navigating these landscapes required diplomacy, respect, and patience. Elon and Sarah engaged with leaders, advocates, and organizations to build partnerships based on mutual benefit and respect for sovereignty and traditions. In the highlands of Nepal, for example, the team worked with local councils and NGOs to deliver connectivity that supported education and healthcare while preserving cultural heritage. These collaborations opened new pathways for dialogue and cooperation, highlighting technology's potential as a bridge rather than a disruptor. The project also faced moments of crisis that tested its resilience. In a remote village in East Africa, a sudden political upheaval led to temporary shutdowns and threats against infrastructure. The Starlink team coordinated with international partners to maintain service where possible and support humanitarian efforts. These experiences reinforced the need for flexibility and ethical vigilance, reminding the team that connectivity was deeply intertwined with human security and dignity. On the innovation front, the team explored ways to enhance the user experience for remote populations. They developed intuitive interfaces with voice commands and minimal text, addressing language barriers and literacy challenges. Offline caching technologies allowed users to access essential content even during temporary disconnections. Community feedback shaped ongoing improvements, ensuring that the technology remained relevant and empowering. The impact of these efforts began to ripple outward. In the deserts of Rajasthan, a women's cooperative used Starlink to coordinate artisanal craft sales internationally, gaining economic independence and recognition. In Papua New Guinea, remote schools connected with global classrooms, enriching education and fostering cross-cultural exchange. Across the Arctic Circle, indigenous communities preserve languages and traditions through digital storytelling platforms enabled by Starlink. These stories demonstrated that connectivity was not just about access to information but about cultural preservation, empowerment, and self-expression. Elon's public messaging evolved to emphasize these human dimensions. In speeches and interviews, he highlighted stories of individuals and communities transformed by connectivity, framing Starlink as a tool for justice and creativity. Sarah's advocacy complemented this narrative, focusing on inclusive design, community engagement, and ethical leadership. Together, they inspired a growing movement of technologists, activists, and policymakers committed to bridging digital divides worldwide. Yet the journey was far from over. Technical challenges persisted, including managing network congestion as usage grew and developing next-generation satellites with enhanced capabilities. Environmental concerns remained a priority, with ongoing research into sustainable manufacturing and end-of-life satellite deorbiting technologies. The team also grappled with emerging issues around data sovereignty, privacy, and the ethical use of AI within the network. These complexities underscored that innovation was a continuous process, one requiring humility, adaptability, and collaboration. On a personal level, Sarah found renewed purpose in mentoring young engineers from underrepresented backgrounds, fostering diversity within the project and the broader tech industry. Elon, inspired by the stories he encountered, committed to philanthropy focused on education and digital inclusion. Their partnership deepened, blending visionary ambition with grounded humanity. The chapter closes with a vivid scene. Beneath the shimmering night sky of a remote Andean village, a group of children gather around a Starlink terminal, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of screens. They explore worlds beyond their mountains, their laughter and curiosity echoing the boundless potential unlocked by connectivity. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had reached the farthest corners of the Earth, not just as a technological achievement but as a beacon of hope, inclusion, and shared possibility. As Starlink's constellation grew and its influence expanded, a new frontier emerged, space itself. Elon Musk had long envisioned not only connecting Earth but also establishing humanity's presence beyond the planet. With SpaceX's ongoing Mars ambitions and Starlink's global network, the two projects began to converge in unexpected ways. The idea was bold: extend Starlink's satellite internet to serve future off-world colonies and spacecraft, creating an interplanetary internet. This would be crucial for communication, research, and survival in deep space. The technical challenges were daunting. Space beyond Earth's orbit posed extreme conditions, vast distances causing signal delays, cosmic radiation interfering with hardware, and the need for highly autonomous systems since real-time human intervention was impossible. The team had to rethink satellite design, network protocols, and data transmission methods. Sarah Matthews took a leading role in coordinating this next phase of innovation. Her experience managing Earth-based deployments proved invaluable, but the shift to space communications demanded new expertise and partnerships. Collaborations were forged with NASA, international space agencies, and private aerospace firms to develop compatible technologies and standards. One breakthrough was the development of relay satellites positioned at Lagrange points, stable gravitational zones between Earth, the Moon, and Mars, enabling continuous, low-latency communication links. These relay satellites acted as nodes in a vast interplanetary network, routing data efficiently despite the vast distances. As prototypes were launched and tested, the Starlink team faced unexpected surprises. The network's architecture had to be more resilient and self-healing, capable of rerouting traffic around damaged or out-of-range nodes autonomously. AI-driven management systems learned to predict and adapt to changing space weather and orbital dynamics. These advances not only benefited space communications but fed back into improving Earth-based service reliability. Elon's vision extended beyond technology to the human dimension of interplanetary life. He spoke of Starlink as the digital lifeline connecting explorers, scientists, and settlers, keeping them linked with Earth and with each other, sustaining morale and collaboration. For Sarah, this meant not only engineering but also envisioning the social infrastructure needed in space, education platforms, telemedicine, remote work, cultural exchange, and governance. The team worked on virtual environments and communication tools tailored to the psychological and practical needs of isolated, confined populations millions of miles from home. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Starlink constellation's success inspired broader discussions about humanity's future. Scientists, ethicists, and policymakers debated the implications of becoming a multiplanetary species linked by a universal internet. Questions about data sovereignty in space, the digital rights of extraterrestrial settlers, and the preservation of human culture beyond Earth emerged as new frontiers of ethics and law. Sarah became a sought-after voice in these conversations, advocating for inclusive and forward-thinking policies that balanced innovation with responsibility. The expanding Starlink network also catalyzed commercial and scientific opportunities in Earth orbit and beyond. Companies leveraged the system for satellite Internet of Things, IoT, applications, space tourism communications, and real-time Earth observation data streams. Research stations use Starlink for high-bandwidth data transfer essential for climate monitoring, astrophysics, and planetary science. This growing ecosystem reflected the transformative potential of ubiquitous, reliable connectivity. However, the increased number of satellites raised concerns about space debris and congestion. Elon and Sarah championed active debris removal technologies and international cooperation to ensure sustainable orbital environments. These efforts underscored that the future of space would depend on collective stewardship and innovation. On a personal level, Sarah found herself reflecting on humanity's place in the cosmos and the role technology played in shaping that destiny. The journey from deploying Starlink terminals in remote villages to building interplanetary networks was staggering, a testament to human ingenuity and aspiration. She remained grounded by the stories of people transformed by connectivity on Earth, reminding her that space ambitions must serve and uplift all humanity. Elon, energized by progress, continued to push boundaries, envisioning a future where Starlink and SpaceX not only connected worlds but also helped build a sustainable, thriving human presence across the solar system. Their partnership embodied a fusion of visionary dreams and pragmatic leadership, navigating challenges and inspiring hope. The chapter closes with a powerful image, a Starlink relay satellite orbiting a distant moon, its antennas glowing softly against the blackness of space. Below, on Earth and Mars, people communicate seamlessly across millions of miles, united by a network born from one man's dream to bring free internet to the world. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had transcended terrestrial bounds, becoming a cosmic bridge linking humanity's past, present, and future. With Starlink's expanding global footprint and its ambitious push into interplanetary communications, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews faced a new challenge, scaling the network to serve billions of users while maintaining affordability, speed, and reliability. The unprecedented demand for bandwidth and connectivity put immense pressure on the existing infrastructure, requiring breakthrough innovations in satellite technology, ground stations, and user hardware. To tackle this, the Starlink team launched Project Horizon, an initiative focused on next-generation satellite design and network architecture. The goal was to create a more powerful, efficient, and flexible constellation capable of dynamically adjusting to traffic loads, geographic shifts, and user needs. The engineering teams experimented with advanced phased array antennas, next-level optical inter-satellite links using lasers instead of radio waves, and AI-driven network management systems. These upgrades promised faster data transfer, lower latency, and enhanced resilience against interference and cyber threats. At the heart of Project Horizon was a modular satellite design that allowed for rapid upgrades and easier maintenance, extending the constellation's lifespan and reducing space debris. Sarah played a pivotal role in coordinating the complex interplay between hardware development, software innovation, and operational logistics. Her leadership fostered a culture of agility and creativity, encouraging cross-disciplinary collaboration and rapid prototyping. The team embraced a fail-fast mentality, learning quickly from setbacks and iterating solutions at an unprecedented pace. Parallel to technological advancements, Elon and Sarah recognized the importance of creating a sustainable business model that could support Starlink's free and low-cost services while funding continuous innovation. They explored diverse revenue streams such as premium enterprise services, government contracts, partnerships with educational institutions, and integration with emerging 5G and 6G terrestrial networks. To balance inclusivity and financial viability, the team developed tiered service plans, ensuring basic connectivity remained accessible worldwide while offering enhanced features for specialized users. The economic strategy was complemented by an emphasis on digital inclusion programs, subsidized hardware, and community engagement initiatives that prioritized equitable access. As Project Horizon advanced, Starlink's user experience underwent dramatic transformation. The new user terminals became smaller, more energy efficient, and easier to install, broadening adoption in urban, suburban, and remote environments alike. AI-driven interfaces personalized connectivity, optimizing bandwidth allocation based on real-time needs and user behavior. Mobile applications enabled seamless network switching, diagnostics, and customer support. The impact on users was profound: students attending virtual classrooms without buffering, farmers accessing precision agriculture data, remote workers collaborating effortlessly, and emergency responders coordinating rapidly in disaster zones. Yet, with these strides came new challenges. The complexity of managing a global, dynamic network introduced vulnerabilities and risks. Cybersecurity threats evolved constantly, including sophisticated phishing campaigns, state-sponsored attacks, and novel malware targeting satellite systems. Sarah established a dedicated cyber defense task force that integrated cutting-edge AI threat detection, rapid incident response, and global intelligence sharing. The team worked closely with international cybersecurity agencies, private security firms, and academic researchers to stay ahead of emerging threats. The emphasis on transparency and user privacy remained paramount, with strict protocols governing data usage and consent. Socially and politically, Starlink's influence deepened. As more people came online, digital divides narrowed but also exposed gaps in digital literacy, misinformation, and online harassment. Elon and Sarah championed digital education programs that empowered users to navigate information critically, engage respectfully, and protect their privacy. Partnerships with NGOs, schools, and governments scaled these efforts globally. Additionally, the team invested in tools to counter misinformation, promote media literacy, and foster constructive online dialogue. On the environmental front, Project Horizon advanced sustainability initiatives. Starlink satellites incorporated green manufacturing processes, used eco-friendly materials, and employed advanced deorbiting technologies to minimize space debris. Elon and Sarah advocated for international space environmental standards and participated in global forums focused on sustainable space operations. These commitments reflected a holistic vision: technology advancing human connectivity without compromising planetary health. The human stories behind these technological and organizational achievements remained a vital source of motivation. Sarah often met with users whose lives had been transformed by improved connectivity: a teacher in rural Alaska able to live stream lessons, a healthcare worker in sub-Saharan Africa coordinating telemedicine, an entrepreneur in Southeast Asia launching an e-commerce platform. These encounters grounded the project in real-world impact and shaped ongoing innovation. Elon's public persona evolved as well. No longer just the eccentric tech visionary, he became a global advocate for responsible innovation and digital equity, engaging with world leaders, institutions, and communities to align technology with human values. The partnership between Elon and Sarah became emblematic of a new kind of leadership, blending visionary ambition with ethical responsibility and collaborative spirit. The chapter closes with a vivid scene: a bustling urban neighborhood where families, students, and businesses rely on Starlink's high-speed, affordable internet. The network hums invisibly overhead, connecting lives and dreams. Elon and Sarah watch from their offices, aware that this moment represents both a milestone and a beginning, a continuous journey toward a world where connectivity empowers everyone, everywhere. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had not only transformed global communication but had sparked a new era of human potential and connection. The growing success of Starlink brought with it a new set of challenges that tested Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews beyond technology and business strategy, navigating the delicate balance between innovation and regulation. Governments around the world, faced with the disruptive power of free, high-speed internet available everywhere, began grappling with how to regulate this unprecedented force. While some embraced Starlink's potential to bridge the digital divide and boost economies, others feared loss of control over information flow, cybersecurity risks, and impacts on existing industries. The regulatory landscape quickly became a complex web of national laws, international treaties, and emerging policies. Elon understood that winning regulatory battles required more than lobbying or technical compliance. It demanded building genuine partnerships with governments and aligning Starlink's mission with public interests. Sarah spearheaded efforts to create a dedicated global regulatory affairs team, staffed with experts in telecommunications law, diplomacy, and policy analysis. Their mandate was to engage constructively with regulators, anticipate legal shifts, and co-create frameworks that balanced innovation with security and sovereignty. One early victory was negotiating spectrum access agreements with multiple countries. Radio frequencies essential for Starlink satellite communications were often contested resources, traditionally allocated to legacy telecom providers or military uses. The team's transparent approach, sharing data, demonstrating safety measures, and proposing fair use policies, helped build trust and secured critical approvals. However, not all negotiations were smooth. Some governments imposed restrictions aimed at censorship or monopolizing internet access. In these contexts, Elon and Sarah faced ethical dilemmas about balancing respect for national laws with Starlink's commitment to open access and human rights. They established a cross-functional ethics council to guide decision-making, consulting with human rights organizations, legal experts, and affected communities. This body helped navigate tensions and develop principled responses. Simultaneously, the global nature of Starlink's network sparked debates on data privacy and sovereignty. Countries demanded assurances that user data originating within their borders would be protected according to local laws and not exploited. Sarah led initiatives to implement decentralized data centers, localize sensitive processing, and provide transparent user controls over data. Starlink also adopted strict encryption standards and underwent third-party audits to reinforce trust. Public opinion played a pivotal role in shaping regulatory outcomes. Elon frequently engaged with media and public forums, clarifying misconceptions and highlighting Starlink's societal benefits. Sarah organized community listening sessions worldwide, ensuring voices from underserved and vulnerable populations were heard. This bottom-up engagement helped humanize the technology and build grassroots support. Internally, the regulatory challenges sparked innovation. The engineering and legal teams collaborated to design satellites and ground systems compliant with diverse international requirements, including emergency shut-off capabilities, geofencing features, and adaptable bandwidth management. This complexity elevated Starlink's technical sophistication and operational flexibility. Meanwhile, geopolitical tensions occasionally threatened Starlink's operations. In regions with unstable governments or conflict zones, maintaining service without exacerbating political conflicts required delicate diplomacy. Elon advocated for Starlink as a neutral humanitarian tool, supporting disaster response and independent journalism. Sarah coordinated partnerships with NGOs and international agencies to leverage connectivity for peacebuilding and resilience. The regulatory journey revealed broader lessons about the role of technology in society. Elon and Sarah recognized that transformative innovations must be accompanied by frameworks that safeguard rights, foster inclusion, and promote accountability. They became vocal proponents of multi-stakeholder governance models involving governments, civil society, industry, and users. These ideas resonated in global forums, influencing emerging internet governance policies. On a personal level, navigating these complex political and ethical landscapes deepened Elon and Sarah's partnership. Their conversations evolved beyond technical problems into philosophical reflections on power, responsibility, and the future of humanity in a connected world. They drew strength from shared values and commitment to making technology a force for good. The chapter closes with a scene from an international conference where Elon delivers a keynote speech. Against a backdrop of diplomats, technologists, and activists, he declares, "Connectivity is not just a utility, it's a human right. Together, we must build bridges, not walls." The audience erupts in applause, capturing the spirit of Starlink's mission: innovation intertwined with responsibility, hope, and a vision for a more connected, equitable world. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had not only reshaped communication but also redefined the social contract of the digital age. As Starlink's network reached into every corner of the globe, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews turned their attention to the next frontier, harnessing satellite internet to revolutionize education worldwide. They envisioned a world where every child, regardless of geography or circumstance, could access quality learning resources and connect with teachers and peers across the globe. Education had always been close to Sarah's heart. Growing up in a small town where resources were scarce, she knew firsthand the transformative power of knowledge and opportunity. The team launched Project Lighthouse, a bold initiative to integrate Starlink connectivity with innovative educational platforms designed for remote and underserved communities. The first challenge was infrastructure. Many schools in target regions lacked reliable electricity, let alone internet access. To address this, the engineers developed solar-powered Starlink terminals and portable kits that could be deployed in classrooms, community centers, or even homes. The hardware was designed to be durable, low maintenance, and easy to operate by non-technical users. Sarah worked closely with educators, curriculum developers, and local leaders to tailor content that was culturally relevant, linguistically appropriate, and pedagogically sound. They collaborated with global educational nonprofits to digitize and distribute textbooks, lesson plans, and interactive materials optimized for low bandwidth. The team also integrated adaptive learning technologies, enabling personalized instruction that responded to each student's progress and needs. Connectivity alone was not enough. Training teachers and community facilitators became a central focus. Sarah spearheaded capacity-building programs that empowered educators to use digital tools effectively, foster critical thinking, and engage students actively. These programs included remote workshops, peer mentoring networks, and resource-sharing platforms. The impact was immediate and inspiring. In a remote village in Malawi, where previously students relied on worn-out textbooks and sporadic teacher visits, the new Starlink-powered learning center buzzed with activity. Children participated in live virtual classes taught by experienced teachers thousands of miles away, accessed multimedia resources that brought science and history to life, and collaborated on projects with peers from other countries. Teachers reported increased student engagement, improved literacy rates, and newfound enthusiasm for learning. Elsewhere, in the Appalachian Mountains, homebound students facing physical challenges connected with online tutors and classmates, breaking isolation and expanding their horizons. These successes fueled further innovation. The team developed offline content caching, enabling students to download lessons when connectivity was available and access them anytime, even during outages. They introduced virtual reality modules that simulated science experiments, historical sites, and cultural experiences, making learning immersive and memorable. Data analytics helped educators identify learning gaps and customize interventions. Sarah championed inclusivity, ensuring that special education needs were addressed, and gender disparities were reduced. The initiative also extended beyond formal education. Starlink connectivity facilitated adult literacy programs, vocational training, and lifelong learning opportunities. Communities accessed health education, financial literacy courses, and entrepreneurship training, catalyzing economic empowerment and social mobility. The transformative power of education resonated with Elon, who saw it as a foundation for humanity's future in a connected, multipolar world. He emphasized in public talks that digital education was not a luxury but a necessity for global progress and equity. The team faced challenges along the way. Skepticism and resistance emerged in some regions, rooted in cultural norms, political concerns, or fear of technology. Sarah and her colleagues engaged respectfully with stakeholders, adapting approaches and demonstrating benefits through pilot projects and transparent communication. Logistical hurdles, such as customs delays, hardware theft, and maintenance issues, tested operational resilience, prompting continuous process improvements. The project also grappled with the digital divide within connected communities. Access alone did not guarantee equitable learning outcomes. Social and economic factors influenced participation and success. To address this, Starlink partnered with local organizations to provide scholarships, nutritional support, and safe learning environments. Monitoring and evaluation systems measured impact, informing iterative refinement. The educational initiative ignited wider enthusiasm for technology-enabled social change. Governments began integrating Starlink connectivity into national education strategies, donors increased funding, and tech companies collaborated to expand digital ecosystems. The ripple effects extended to healthcare, agriculture, governance, and entrepreneurship, illustrating how connectivity could catalyze holistic development. On a personal level, Sarah found deep fulfillment in witnessing these transformations. Her leadership blended technical expertise, cultural sensitivity, and human empathy. Elon remained a vocal advocate, leveraging his platform to highlight success stories and call for global cooperation to bridge remaining gaps. The chapter closes with a moving scene, a classroom in a remote village in Nepal where students excitedly log into a Starlink-powered virtual field trip. Through their screens, they explore the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Barrier Reef, and the International Space Station. Their eyes sparkle with wonder and possibility, embodying the promise of a connected world where learning knows no boundaries. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had opened not only digital pathways but also gateways to knowledge, hope, and a brighter future for generations to come. As Starlink's educational initiatives flourished worldwide, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews found themselves confronting an unexpected dimension of their mission, the cultural transformations triggered by universal connectivity. The arrival of high-speed internet in remote communities not only changed access to information but also reshaped social dynamics, traditions, and identities. This complex interplay fascinated Sarah, who recognized that technology could both empower and disrupt cultural fabrics. To understand and address these impacts, the Starlink team launched Project Mosaic, a multidisciplinary effort involving anthropologists, sociologists, educators, and technologists. The goal was to explore how connectivity influenced cultural expressions, social cohesion, and community resilience, and to design approaches that supported positive outcomes while respecting local heritage. Field teams conducted ethnographic studies in diverse regions, from indigenous villages in the Amazon to isolated island communities in the Pacific, documenting how internet access affected language use, storytelling, social rituals, and intergenerational relationships. Some findings revealed exciting opportunities. Younger generations used connectivity to revive endangered languages through digital media, share traditional knowledge globally, and organize cultural festivals that attracted tourism and investment. Artists and musicians found new audiences online, creating hybrid art forms that blended ancestral traditions with contemporary influences. Yet, challenges also emerged. Exposure to global media sometimes led to cultural homogenization, with dominant narratives overshadowing local customs. Social media platforms could amplify conflicts, misinformation, or social fragmentation. Elders expressed concerns about the erosion of values and authority, while youth navigated tensions between tradition and modernity. Sarah and Elon recognized that technology was a tool shaped by human agency, and that supporting communities and harnessing it thoughtfully was essential. Project Mosaic's findings informed the development of culturally sensitive digital literacy programs, co-designed with local leaders and tailored to community needs. These programs emphasized critical engagement with content, preservation of cultural heritage, and promotion of respectful dialogue across generations. The Starlink network integrated features to support these goals, such as localized content filters, community-driven moderation, and platforms for cultural exchange. The team also prioritized participatory design, involving community members in creating digital tools and content that reflected their identities and aspirations. Beyond preserving culture, connectivity enabled new forms of civic engagement and social innovation. Communities used Starlink to advocate for rights, mobilize collective action, and connect with global movements. Women's groups accessed resources and networks empowering gender equality and entrepreneurship. Youth harnessed social media to amplify their voices on climate change, education, and governance. Sarah championed these developments, seeing them as expressions of human dignity and agency enabled by technology. Meanwhile, Elon's vision expanded to consider how cultural diversity would shape humanity's future in space. As Starlink extended interplanetary networks, the question of cultural preservation and exchange beyond Earth took on new urgency. The team began collaborating with space anthropologists and futurists to explore how digital connectivity could support cultural vitality and cooperation in extraterrestrial settlements. The challenges of cultural transformation sparked internal reflection within Starlink's leadership. Elon and Sarah engaged in dialogues about the ethics of technological influence, the limits of intervention, and the importance of humility and listening. They committed to ongoing learning, openness to critique, and partnership with communities as equal stakeholders. The chapter also highlighted personal stories illustrating cultural resilience and adaptation. In a remote Siberian village, a grandmother used Starlink-powered video calls to teach traditional crafts to her grandchildren scattered across cities. In a Maasai community in Kenya, youths created a digital archive of oral histories, blending storytelling with augmented reality. These narratives underscored technology's potential to amplify human creativity and continuity when wielded thoughtfully. Despite progress, Project Mosaic faced challenges, resistance from some stakeholders, logistical complexities, and the need for sustained funding. Yet, the team remained committed, driven by the belief that connectivity must honor and celebrate the rich tapestry of human cultures rather than erode it. The chapter concludes with a powerful scene, a virtual cultural festival streamed via Starlink, featuring performances, art exhibits, and dialogues from communities around the world. People of all ages and backgrounds participate, bridging distances and differences through shared celebration. Elon Musk watches with Sarah, inspired by the vision of a connected world where diversity thrives alongside unity. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had become more than a network. It was a living mosaic of human stories, a platform for cultural flourishing in a rapidly changing world. With the cultural impacts of Starlink becoming clearer through Project Mosaic, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews turned their focus to another critical dimension, the environmental footprint of their satellite constellation. As much as Starlink promised to connect humanity and transform lives, the team was acutely aware of growing concerns from scientists, environmentalists, and the public about the ecological effects of launching thousands of satellites into orbit. Space debris, light pollution, and the energy consumption of ground operations posed significant challenges that threatened to undermine Starlink's vision of sustainable progress. Sarah led a comprehensive environmental impact assessment, collaborating with leading space agencies, academic researchers, and independent experts. The findings revealed the complexity of the problem. While individual satellites had relatively low emissions, the sheer scale of the constellation risked contributing to orbital congestion and collision hazards. Additionally, reflected sunlight from satellites interfered with astronomical observations, provoking concerns from the scientific community. The team resolved to address these issues proactively, integrating sustainability into every aspect of Starlink's operations. They initiated Project Green Orbit, dedicated to minimizing environmental harm and pioneering responsible space stewardship. One major innovation was the development of advanced deorbiting technology. Starlink satellites were redesigned with automated propulsion systems capable of safely lowering their orbits at the end of operational life, ensuring they would re-enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up rather than becoming space debris. These systems employed fuel-efficient thrusters and cutting-edge AI to optimize trajectories and avoid collisions. Sarah coordinated with international space agencies to establish debris mitigation protocols and share best practices, contributing to emerging global standards for orbital sustainability. To tackle light pollution, engineers experimented with novel coatings and satellite orientations that reduced reflectivity. Starlink also implemented scheduled orbital maneuvers to minimize impact during sensitive astronomical observations. These efforts involved close collaboration with the astronomical community, balancing technological progress with scientific research needs. On the ground, the team invested heavily in renewable energy for Starlink's data centers and ground stations. Solar and wind installations powered critical infrastructure, and energy-efficient hardware designs reduced consumption. Elon's vision of a sustainable space internet extended to every link in the chain. Transparency became a cornerstone of Project Green Orbit. The team published regular environmental impact reports, engaged openly with critics, and invited third-party audits. Public webinars, educational campaigns, and collaborative workshops raised awareness and fostered dialogue among stakeholders. This openness built trust and demonstrated Starlink's commitment to environmental responsibility. The initiative also spurred new research and innovation beyond Starlink. Universities and startups joined forces to explore biodegradable satellite components, alternative propulsion methods, and space traffic management technologies. Elon and Sarah supported these efforts through funding and partnerships, recognizing that sustainability required collective action. At the same time, the environmental challenges prompted reflections on broader issues of humanity's relationship with Earth and space. Elon often spoke about the imperative to balance exploration and preservation, seeing Starlink as a step toward a future where technology enhanced planetary health rather than degraded it. Sarah's leadership emphasized humility and stewardship, encouraging a culture that valued long-term impact over short-term gains. Internally, Project Green Orbit transformed Starlink's organizational culture. Environmental awareness became embedded in engineering practices, project planning, and decision-making processes. Employees took pride in contributing to a mission that prioritized sustainability alongside innovation. The chapter shares personal stories of team members inspired by these values, engineers redesigning components to reduce waste, operations staff advocating for green policies, and outreach coordinators engaging communities in conservation efforts. Despite progress, challenges remained. Balancing rapid deployment with environmental safeguards required careful trade-offs. Some critics argued that even with mitigation, large satellite constellations posed unacceptable risks. The team welcomed these critiques as opportunities for growth and dialogue. The chapter closes with a powerful scene, a clear night sky over a rural town, where families gather to stargaze. Thanks to Starlink's careful design, the satellite's presence is subtle, and the stars shine brightly. Elon and Sarah watch this moment together, reflecting on the responsibility that comes with connecting the world and reaching for the stars. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had not only bridged digital divides but also charted a path toward sustainable exploration of the final frontier. With Starlink's environmental initiatives underway, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews faced an equally formidable challenge closer to home, securing the vast network against growing cyber threats. As Starlink satellites and ground stations expanded to connect millions worldwide, the risk of cyber attacks intensified, threatening to disrupt service, steal data, or manipulate critical infrastructure. The stakes were immense. Starlink was no longer just a technological marvel but a backbone for communication, education, governance, and emergency response. Ensuring its security became a top priority that demanded innovative strategies and relentless vigilance. Sarah, drawing on her deep expertise in cybersecurity, established the Starlink Cyber Defense Unit, a multidisciplinary team of ethical hackers, cryptographers, engineers, and intelligence analysts. Their mission was clear: protect the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of the network against a constantly evolving threat landscape. The team adopted a proactive approach, employing cutting-edge technologies such as AI-powered threat detection, machine learning anomaly analysis, and blockchain-based authentication systems. These tools enabled real-time monitoring of network traffic, rapid identification of suspicious activities, and automated response mechanisms to isolate and neutralize attacks before they could escalate. One notable threat came from state-sponsored hackers aiming to compromise Starlink's satellites to disrupt communication in geopolitical hotspots. These attacks involved sophisticated techniques like signal jamming, spoofing, and supply chain infiltration. The Cyber Defense Unit developed countermeasures including encrypted communication protocols, resilient hardware architectures, and decentralized control systems that could operate autonomously if parts of the network were compromised. Sarah also championed a culture of security awareness across the entire organization. Regular training sessions, simulated cyber drills, and clear protocols ensured that every employee understood their role in safeguarding the network. This holistic approach extended to partners, suppliers, and users, promoting best practices in password management, software updates, and data privacy. Collaboration was another pillar of Starlink's cybersecurity strategy. The team forged alliances with government agencies, international cybersecurity coalitions, and private sector experts to share intelligence, coordinate defenses, and respond collectively to emerging threats. Elon used his influence to advocate for stronger global cyber norms and treaties, emphasizing that the security of satellite internet was a matter of global stability. The chapter highlights gripping moments when the Cyber Defense Unit thwarted high-stakes cyber attacks. In one instance, a coordinated attempt to hijack satellite controls during a critical humanitarian mission was detected within seconds. The team's swift action rerouted traffic, deployed countermeasures, and preserved service without disruption. These real-time battles underscored the relentless nature of cyber warfare and the importance of readiness. At the same time, ethical considerations guided Starlink's security policies. Elon and Sarah insisted on transparency with users about data collection and usage, rejecting invasive surveillance practices. They implemented privacy-by-design principles and gave users control over their information. This commitment reinforced trust and distinguished Starlink in a market increasingly wary of data exploitation. The rapid pace of technological advancement posed ongoing challenges. New vulnerabilities emerged as Starlink integrated with Internet of Things, IoT, devices, smart cities, and autonomous vehicles. The Cyber Defense Unit remained agile, continuously updating defense architectures and investing in research on quantum-resistant cryptography and other future-proof solutions. Internally, the intense pressure of defending a global network took a toll on the team. Sarah prioritized mental health resources, fostering a supportive environment where members could share stresses and celebrate successes. Elon frequently acknowledged their vital role, boosting morale through personal messages and incentives. The chapter also explores the human stories behind the cyber defenses, the dedication of individuals working long hours to analyze code, trace attack origins, and develop innovations that kept millions connected. Their passion and expertise embodied the spirit of resilience and collaboration that defined Starlink. The chapter closes with a tense yet triumphant scene. A live cyber defense simulation involving multiple global teams, testing the network's ability to withstand a massive coordinated attack. As alarms sound and data flows spike, Starlink's systems hold firm. Elon addresses the assembled team, "In this digital age, security is our shield. Together, we protect not just our network but the future of connected humanity." The applause echoes the shared commitment to safeguarding the invisible threads that bind the world. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had become a fortress of connectivity, dynamic, resilient, and ever vigilant against the shadows of cyberspace. As Starlink's network matured and its security fortified, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews recognized the vast potential of their satellite constellation to redefine disaster response and humanitarian aid. Natural disasters, hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, floods, had always wreaked havoc on communities, disrupting communication infrastructure at the very moment it was needed most. Starlink's resilient, global coverage presented a game-changing opportunity to provide rapid, reliable connectivity in crisis zones, saving lives and enabling coordinated relief efforts. To realize this vision, the team launched Project Lifeline, an ambitious initiative designed to integrate Starlink's satellite internet with emergency management systems worldwide. The core challenge was building adaptable, portable technology that could be quickly deployed even in the most devastated areas, where traditional communication networks were destroyed or overwhelmed. Engineers developed ruggedized Starlink terminals, capable of operating on solar power and battery backups, that could be airdropped or transported by land and sea. These terminals were designed for rapid setup by non-technical personnel, ensuring immediate connectivity for first responders, medical teams, and affected communities. The project also involved developing software platforms that aggregated real-time data, weather patterns, infrastructure damage, population movements, and shared it seamlessly across agencies, NGOs, and governments. This enabled more informed decision-making, resource allocation, and coordination on the ground. Sarah worked closely with humanitarian organizations, disaster response experts, and local authorities to tailor these solutions to diverse contexts and operational realities. Training programs equipped responders and volunteers with skills to use the technology effectively, while community engagement ensured that aid efforts were culturally sensitive and inclusive. One of the earliest deployments of Project Lifeline came during a devastating hurricane that struck the Caribbean. Traditional communication lines were obliterated, leaving thousands isolated and vulnerable. Starlink terminals were rapidly flown in and distributed to emergency centers, shelters, and medical clinics. The network restored critical links for coordination, enabling rescue teams to locate survivors, deliver supplies, and maintain public health communications. Eyewitness accounts from the field described the profound relief and hope that connectivity brought amidst chaos. The success inspired further refinements. The team incorporated drones equipped with Starlink receivers to extend connectivity into inaccessible areas, creating ad hoc mesh networks. They also integrated artificial intelligence to analyze social media signals and satellite imagery, providing early warnings and damage assessments. The initiative proved invaluable in wildfire-prone regions of California, where rapid information sharing helped evacuate communities and direct firefighting resources. In conflict zones and refugee camps, Starlink provided a lifeline for displaced populations, connecting families, facilitating education, and supporting telemedicine. The chapter highlights moving stories of individuals whose lives were transformed by Lifeline's impact: a nurse coordinating emergency care remotely, a child able to video call relatives after losing their home, a volunteer sharing critical updates that saved lives. Elon and Sarah emphasized that technology alone was not a panacea. The human element, compassion, collaboration, local knowledge, remained essential. The project also prompted reflection on ethical responsibilities. Ensuring equitable access to emergency connectivity, protecting user privacy in sensitive situations, and avoiding dependence on a single provider required careful governance and partnerships. Starlink worked with international bodies to develop frameworks promoting transparency, accountability, and interoperability. As Project Lifeline expanded, it spurred innovation across sectors. Insurance companies used real-time data to assess risks and expedite claims. Researchers gained unprecedented access to environmental monitoring. Governments enhanced resilience planning, leveraging connectivity as a critical infrastructure. Elon often remarked that Starlink's role in disaster response exemplified the profound power of technology to alleviate human suffering and build a more resilient world. Internally, the initiative galvanized the Starlink team, infusing their work with renewed purpose and urgency. The chapter shares intimate glimpses into the emotional toll and triumphs experienced by team members deployed in disaster zones, balancing technical challenges with humanitarian commitment. The chapter closes with a poignant scene, a community gathering after a major earthquake, where survivors connect through Starlink to share stories, coordinate rebuilding, and envision a hopeful future. Sarah and Elon visit the site, witnessing firsthand the tangible difference their innovation made. Elon reflects, in moments of crisis, connectivity is more than convenience, it's survival. Our mission is to ensure no one faces disaster alone. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had become a beacon of hope and resilience, illuminating the darkest hours and empowering humanity to rise together. As Starlink's impact grew globally, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews found themselves at the forefront of a profound transformation in education. The promise of free, high-speed internet had already begun to close gaps in access to knowledge, but the real revolution was just beginning. Starlink's network was enabling new models of learning that transcended geography, socioeconomic barriers, and traditional classroom walls. This chapter explores how Starlink became a catalyst for educational innovation, empowering millions and reshaping the future of learning. Sarah spearheaded the development of Starlink Learning Connect, an integrated platform combining satellite internet with cutting-edge digital education tools. The platform offered interactive courses, virtual classrooms, and personalized tutoring powered by AI, tailored to diverse cultural and linguistic contexts. The challenge was enormous. Creating content that was engaging, accessible, and relevant for learners ranging from rural children in Appalachia to urban students in underserved neighborhoods. Partnerships with educators, content creators, and governments were key. Together, they co-created curricula that respected local traditions while introducing global perspectives and critical skills for the 21st century. The chapter highlights inspiring stories of learners whose lives were transformed. In a small town in Mississippi, a teenager with dreams of becoming an engineer accessed advanced STEM courses and mentorship programs through Starlink Learning Connect. In Navajo Nation, language preservation efforts integrated with digital education, empowering youth to embrace their heritage while mastering new knowledge. Teachers adapted to the new tools, embracing blended learning models that combined in-person instruction with virtual resources. Professional development programs helped educators harness technology effectively, fostering creativity and collaboration. Sarah visited many of these communities, witnessing firsthand the enthusiasm and challenges. She realized that connectivity was only the first step. Building trust, cultural sensitivity, and community involvement was essential for lasting impact. Starlink's educational mission extended beyond formal schooling. Lifelong learning initiatives targeted adults seeking new skills or career changes, supporting workforce development and economic mobility. The platform included health education, financial literacy, and civic engagement resources, addressing holistic needs. Elon viewed education as the foundation of human progress and frequently spoke about Starlink's role in democratizing knowledge. He envisioned a future where every child, regardless of location or background, had the opportunity to realize their potential. The chapter also addresses obstacles faced along the way, infrastructural limitations, digital literacy gaps, and resistance to change in some areas. Starlink's team responded with creative solutions, offline content caches, community tech hubs, and peer-to-peer support networks. Ethical considerations remained paramount. Privacy protections, equitable access, and avoiding commercial exploitation were embedded in the platform's design and governance. Starlink worked closely with NGOs and policy makers to align with global education goals and standards. The chapter culminates in a landmark event, a global virtual graduation ceremony streamed via Starlink, celebrating tens of thousands of learners from diverse backgrounds. The event featured speeches from Elon, Sarah, and students who shared their journeys and aspirations. It symbolized not just achievement but the power of connectivity to unite and uplift humanity. In reflection, Sarah mused on the transformative potential of education powered by technology and community. Elon emphasized that Starlink's mission was more than satellites and internet, it was about unlocking human creativity and opportunity on an unprecedented scale. The chapter closes with a hopeful vision, a young girl in rural Vermont logging onto her Starlink terminal at dawn, eager to explore a world of knowledge and possibility, confident that the future was hers to shape. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had opened doors to learning and growth for millions, lighting the path to a brighter tomorrow. After years of relentless innovation, unforeseen challenges, and profound impact, Elon Musk and Sarah Matthews stood on the precipice of Starlink's next great chapter. The constellation that began as a bold vision to connect the disconnected had evolved into a multifaceted force reshaping society. From education and disaster relief to environmental stewardship and cybersecurity. Yet, as the world embraced the promise of free internet from space, questions about the future loomed large. How would humanity navigate this new era of unprecedented connectivity? What lessons had Starlink's journey revealed about technology, responsibility, and the human spirit? The final chapter reflects on the sweeping arc of Starlink's story, weaving together the triumphs and trials, the personal and the global. Elon, ever the visionary, saw Starlink as a foundation, a platform for future breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, space exploration, and global collaboration. He imagined a world where barriers dissolved, ideas flowed freely, and collective intelligence propelled humanity forward. Sarah, grounded in the realities of implementation and ethics, emphasized the importance of humility and stewardship. She believed that true progress required balancing innovation with compassion, foresight with flexibility. Together, they fostered a culture at Starlink that embraced both audacity and accountability. The chapter recounts moments of reflection within the team, as members contemplated their roles in this transformative enterprise. Stories emerge of individuals who found purpose and meaning through their work, as well as those who faced doubts and dilemmas but persevered. The narrative explores the evolving relationships between technology and society, the exhilaration of newfound possibilities alongside the vigilance required to manage risks. Starlink's influence extended beyond connectivity to inspire new frameworks for governance and cooperation. Elon championed international dialogues on space policy, digital rights, and sustainable development, advocating for a future where technology served the common good. Sarah participated in global forums, sharing lessons learned and championing inclusive, ethical approaches to innovation. The chapter also acknowledges the critics and challenges that persisted, concerns about data privacy, market monopolies, environmental impacts, and social inequalities. These tensions underscored that progress was never linear or without compromise. Yet, through openness and engagement, Starlink sought to address these issues transparently, fostering trust and collaboration. At the heart of the story was a profound human lesson: connectivity was not merely technical infrastructure but a catalyst for empathy, understanding, and collective action. The chapter closes with a powerful scene, a gathering under a vast night sky, illuminated not only by stars but by Starlink satellites weaving their silent threads across the heavens. Elon and Sarah stand side by side, reflecting on their journey and the future they helped shape. Elon speaks softly, "We set out to connect the world, but what we truly created was a network of hope, resilience, and possibility." Sarah nods, "And that network belongs to everyone, everywhere. It's our shared responsibility to nurture it with care and courage." The final words leave the reader with a resonant message: the future is unwritten, shaped by the choices we make today. Elon Musk's new satellite innovation had done more than bring free internet to the world, it had sparked a new beginning for humanity's interconnected journey among the stars. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?